Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and if you're new to the channel, you're welcome. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Also click on the notification bell to know when we upload or when I upload a new video. You're welcome. So today we're going to be learning how to make this empire waist dress with the kimono sleeve and the ruch, the drawstring around the sleeve area. So right here I have the half scale Natalie Brace bodice block, which I have traced out obviously. Then I went ahead to reduce my waistline, so I took out the excess around my waistline also. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to take in 2 cm to tighten my shoulder around that area. So I'm folding in the dart 2 cm on the other side, the 2 cm. So I actually took the shoulder dart and the 2 cm before it. So that's what I did. So I'm adding the 2 cm back around the SP, the shoulder point. So obviously writing it out. So the next thing is to connect to the armhole, which is what I'm doing. So I am going to use the curve to make that clearer or well connected. So that's it. So the next thing I'm cross-checking, or not cross-checking, I'm trying to get the width of the neckline and the depth of the neckline. So I'm using 2 inches, as you can see. Then 2 by 9, what I used, a little below the chest line. So that's the band area. So I'm going to cut this open by the side. So I'm taking out the neckline, as you can see. Take it out. Now I'm cutting out the excess around the excess paper. So this is my full measurement. So that's the band. So from my underbust to my waistline, that's where my band starts and stops at rather. So that's it. So I'm folding in the dart, trying to figure out if that's going to work, but it wasn't giving me a straight line. So I folded it, but at the end of the day I tried cutting out the dart. Later I joined everything back. So just watch out for that part where I had to turn it back to where I had to open it up and put back the dart. So I suggest you just watch the video and see what I did. So right here I've opened my armhole. So from that point where I slashed it to the point D, where the that leg stops. This is to create a higher shoulder line, to make the shoulder line of the front and the back equal. So I've gone ahead to connect that back and I'm cutting it out. So that's it. Now so that is the front. I went ahead to retrace the band, but the top, the upper part, the CF rather. So this is what I was explaining about the band, that I had to cut out the darts and it was still not giving me what I wanted, so I had to gum it back. So this is the center front retraced without the dot and all that around it. So this is what it looks like. You can go ahead and do yours, like use the other pattern, but I just wanted to do this for clarity purpose. So from my CF, I measured 20 inches from my CF. Then on my underbust point, sorry, my bust point, I had to go out by 2, then 2 inches, then I connected it to the underbust point. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm making that dotted line for me to know that I'm going to cut it out. So at that side, I'm going in by 1. So I'm going to connect it to the bust point. Also go in by 1. Sorry, I made a mistake there. So I didn't go in by 1 there. I went in by 1 at the bust point. So just ignore what I did earlier on. So the bust point line will be cut out. So what I'm doing now is to create the slash and spread. So I measure 2 inches from 2.5 or 2.25 from the center front. Then I divided the remaining one into several parts for me to be able to get the slash and spread method we're using for this pattern. At the side, I went in by 2.2 also. So by the side of the pattern where the bust bust point is, I went in by 2.2 or thereabout. All you do basically is to just divide what you have and you slash and spread. So that is what I did. I went in by 2.2 at the center front, 2 inches, 2.2, side 2.2. So just do what works for you. That depends on the pattern, the measurement you're working with. So that's what I did basically. So I've gone ahead to cut this out. Cutting it out. So I would advise you cut out your neckline before you place the paper underneath it. That way you have the paper will be equal around the neckline. As you can see, mine was not equal. I had to redraw this neckline because it was a bit high, so I had to make it more slanted from the original neckline now, neck point rather. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll go ahead and trim it out. So advise you cut out your neckline before you place that. That way you won't go through this process. So you label that. Then rule, that's that for the front. So for the back, you do the same thing. Just get the underbust at the back, the length of the underbust. That's a guideline. So you do the same thing, measure 20 inches from the CF. The underbust, the back does not have any slash around it. So just get your neckline. Try to compare your neckline. So I'm trying to compare what I have at the front to that of the back. That's what I'm doing. So from there, 20 inches is what I used also. So you connect. Now, I'm trying to see if they are aligning. The pattern is aligning to, especially around the shoulder. So that's what I'm cross-checking, and I'm also making sure that that part get the guideline. I just use that to get a guideline. So that's for the band and the back. For the band at the back, I'm going in, taking out the 1 inch, I think 1 cm allowance excess around that waistline. So I'm going out by 2 inches also. Then I'm also connecting it to that. So that's it. Trim it out. So I use the front to as a guideline for that of the back. So you cut out your neckline. So cross-checking to see if there is any excess. Even though you might still get to see excess when you join them. So you just have to trim and work with it. So I went ahead to slash the 2 sides open to the upper part. The remaining, if you notice the pattern, this the marker was not at the side of the pattern. The marker was not, I didn't take it up, I didn't mark it up. So but I went ahead to slash it up. So right here I'm spreading this pattern by 2 inches to 2 inches. So that's what I'm doing. So you can decide to spread more than that, depends on how full you want it. But I wanted to use 2 inches, so that's what I used. So I'm going to go ahead to connect. Connect it. And you cut. So done cutting it. So that's the back and the front pattern. The back is just plain. So right now, so I am cutting the skirt part of the dress. So that's what I'm doing, using a measurement of 63 or so, 62, to get the length of the dress. That's the length of the dress. So just getting, that's the back, getting my zip allowance. So that's it. Cut the front and the back. Go ahead and cut it out. That's it. Now this is the front side of the dress, the center front. I've labeled, I've gone ahead to mark the seam allowance. So at the front I want a joining, so I went ahead to add that seam allowance for that. So I'm done cutting that. So I'm marking where that gather is going to start from. So that's the way I'm notching from the last part of the side and the center front, the first side. So that's where you're going to gather. So that's the back. Doing the same thing, cutting it. So I'm done with this. So I'm cutting the band. Like I said, the band, I had to leave the darts around the area, so I'm going to trim out the excess when I join it. So there's also a joining at the front of the band. So that's the back, that's the front. So this is what it looks like. I had to sew the gathers. This is what it looks like. join the center. So this is the front of the pattern on the fabric. So it looks like this is the band side. This is the facing. So I'm going to fix the facing. Then for the band, this is the band. This is the upper part. So I'm going to stitch it like this. Pin it. Pin. Remember the dart allowance that was left on the pattern. So this is the excess. Okay. After stitching, I'm going to trim it out. The same thing applies to this side of the pattern, side of the fabric. So just trim out the excess. And after stitching the band to the bodies, this is it. What it looks like. Then I'm going to take the facing of the band. So I'll take the facing after stitching this band to this. Take the facing. This is the facing of the band. Take the upper part too. Then I'll stitch, pin it down. And I'll stitch. So this will cover the sewing inside. It's going to look like this by the time I'm done stitching. So this is what it's going to look like. Then I'll do the same thing to the back. The back does not have gathers like it's it is on the pattern. It doesn't have gathers, and the dart was removed also. So I will just stitch the zip side, the zipper side, close it. Then I have stitched the band to the bodies, and this is the excess that we have due to the band, the dart on the band. So I'm going to trim it off. Another way to avoid having this excess is by trimming out the band allowance on the pattern itself. For example, like this is for the back. All you have to do is to, because I forgot to trim this out, to take out the allowance, the dart allowance on the pattern. So that's why I am trimming out the excess on the fabric itself. So this is it. You just come here, you measure the allowance you have here. This is 2 cm. You come here, you measure 2 cm. Then you can just connect. Actually removed the allowance here from this side, so that's why this one is shorter. So you come here, take your pencil, your mark, that way this is removed, so you can trim it off. So this is it. That way there will be no need for excess to be trimmed out on the fabric. So, but that being said, I'll trim this. And for the back, This is what the back looks like. So I'm gonna head to stitch it, and I'm gonna head to stitch the shoulders together. Now this is the facing. The next thing I'm going to do, because I need this, I need to create a drawstring here. So what I'm going to do, since I've not faced the facing, I'm just going to measure. The facing is about 3 inches. 3 inches. So I am going to measure 3.5. This is where I want it to start from. So I'm going to sew this down and stitch from this 3.5. Stitch it, then close this place so that I can pass my rope. Then after that, I'm going to join the side. Going to join the sides, then fix the skirt part of the dress. So that's that for now. So I'm gonna head to fix the skirt part of the dress to the upper part. So this is what it looks like. I'm still going to show us a video of what it looks like fully, but this is the sleeve side, and this is the drawstring. The shoulder. So I went ahead to increase this to 1/2 inch. I measured 1/2 inch from my shoulder because I wanted it to be more gathered. So this is it. Then I've gone ahead to fix the zipper also. So this is what it looks like at the back. This is it. So the next thing is to just overlock the hem of the skirt side of the dress. Overlock the hem of the dress, then you fold it. I'm going to use a tacking gum, hem gum rather, for this. So this is what it looks like after joining this. So I'll do the necessary finishing on the facing. So I'm going to use tacking gum also on the facing to do the finishing, and after that I'll show us a full video of what it looks like.